Her name was Eleanor Hartley. At 62, she was a woman of elegance, grace, and restraint. Her life had been structured, respectable, and orderly. Widowed early, then busy with her boutique business and raising her only daughter Grace. Most in her social circle admired her for aging well, but they had no idea how lonely her nights truly were. Despite the warmth of family and the satisfaction of success, Eleanor had never known the kind of passion she quietly yearned for. All her past relationships had been safe, routine, expected. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. Until one late spring evening, when the routine broke. She had recently hired a local marketing company to help revive her boutique's online presence. That's how she first met Jackson Reed, a 24-year-old content strategist with wild eyes, a slow smile, and energy that didn't just walk into a room, it commanded it. He had a swagger Eleanor hadn't encountered in decades, and it made something stir inside her she thought had died long ago. At first, she resisted the sensation. Of course she did. He was younger than her daughter. Their conversations were supposed to be professional, plans, analytics, branding. But somehow, every session led to something more textured. She found herself laughing with him, sharing stories, letting her voice soften when he looked into her eyes. And he did look, not in passing, not politely, but directly, intentionally, like he was trying to read a book only she had written. Weeks passed, and one night, after a particularly long meeting at the boutique, rain pouring outside, the lights dimmed with the closing hour, Eleanor reached for her coat. Their fingers touched as he handed it to her. She looked up. He didn't look away. "You know," Jackson said, voice low and steady, "you're unlike anyone I've ever met. I think about you. More than I should." She should have laughed it off, told him he was charming, that it was flattering but not appropriate. But she didn't. She just stood there, heart beating in ways she hadn't felt in years. "Why me?" she finally asked. "Because you're real. You carry strength, class, and fire. Most people pretend. You don't." That night, nothing happened. But it planted a seed. And within days, that seed began to bloom into something impossible to hide. Their first kiss happened unexpectedly, in the back office of her boutique. He'd come in to adjust a campaign, and she had worn a deep blue dress that hugged her curves just right. She didn't know why she dressed that way. Maybe she did. She had wanted to be seen, by him. As she passed by his chair, he caught her hand. She turned, surprised. And there it was again, his gaze, intense, hungry, reverent. "Do you want this too?" he asked softly, almost breathless. She couldn't speak. She only nodded. The kiss was slow, intentional, electric. It wasn't rushed like in youth. It was deep, full of awareness, and every second of it reminded her of all she'd missed over the years. When they pulled apart, she didn't apologize. She didn't explain. For once, she just felt. What followed was unlike anything she expected. They began seeing each other secretly, night after night. Each time he came to her home, he brought with him something she'd long forgotten, a sense of being wanted not out of habit or duty, but out of pure desire. Jackson was gentle but passionate. He admired every part of her, her laugh lines, the way she moved, the softness in her voice. She was no longer afraid of her age. In fact, it seemed to excite him more. "I don't want youth," he told her one night, their bodies tangled in candlelight. "I want a woman who knows herself." She had never been touched the way he touched her. It wasn't just his hands, it was the way he looked at her body, like it was sacred. She found herself exploring pleasures she had long ignored, finding new curves, new desires. Her world shifted. She began smiling in mirrors. She changed her walk. She felt alive, sexual, feminine. And it terrified her. Because there was a truth she couldn't ignore. What would people say? What if her daughter found out? Was she only chasing some fantasy of youth to fill a void? But Jackson never gave her time to doubt too long. He would surprise her with moonlit walks, blindfold her for playful teasing in her own bedroom, write her poems on paper napkins, leave them under her pillow. He brought suspense into her days and heat into her nights. The lines between romance and desire blurred in the most exquisite way. Still, the secret couldn't stay hidden forever. It happened on a Sunday afternoon when Grace came by unexpectedly and found Jackson's jacket on the coat rack. Her eyes narrowed. "Who's this?" Eleanor tried to stay calm. "A friend." Grace raised an eyebrow. "A friend who wears leather and cologne like that?" The confrontation came later that night. "You're sleeping with someone barely older than me?" Grace cried. "Mom, this isn't you." Eleanor stood her ground, but her voice wavered. "You don't know what I've lived without, Grace. You don't know what it's like to feel dead inside for years. This makes me feel alive." Grace didn't understand. But Eleanor did. And that was enough. Jackson didn't run. He stayed. He held her that night tighter than ever. He kissed the tears off her cheeks and said, "Let them talk. You're mine, and I'm yours." Their bond deepened. They traveled upstate for a weekend and stayed in a secluded cabin. There, Eleanor discovered new parts of herself. She let go, completely. She allowed herself to be noisy, wild, shameless. Jackson adored her even more for it. Every touch became a declaration. Every whispered name into her neck became an oath. But real love isn't built on only heat and passion. It faces storms too. As Jackson's company offered him a position in New York, 1,000 miles away, the possibility of goodbye loomed. "I can't ask you to follow me," he said. "It wouldn't be fair." "You're not asking," Eleanor replied. "But if I did, would you want me to?" He pulled her into his chest. "More than anything." In the weeks that followed, Eleanor wrestled with the decision. Could she leave her boutique? Her daughter? Her life? In the end, she chose not to follow him. But the story didn't end there. Instead of walking away, Jackson turned down the offer and started his own freelance brand management firm, so he could stay. For her. "I didn't fall in love with your boutique," he said. "I fell in love with the woman who turned it into magic." Years passed. Whispers eventually faded. Grace softened. Eleanor, once afraid of being judged, now walked hand in hand with Jackson in broad daylight. People stared. Some smiled. Some whispered. But it didn't matter. Their love wasn't conventional. But it was real. It was hot, slow-burning and strong. It didn't rely on age. It thrived on truth. Each night they came together not just in body, but in spirit. And Eleanor, for the first time in 62 years, finally understood what it meant to be desired, for everything she was and everything she had yet to become. She no longer wondered what youth could offer her. Because in Jackson's arms, she had found the kind of power she'd never known, an ageless, electric kind of love that made every night a new chapter, every touch a rediscovery, and every breath proof that pleasure, no matter the age, is not only possible, it's a right. And so she loved him. Boldly. Unapologetically. Completely. Forever began in the arms of a man 38 years her junior, because love never asks for permission. It only asks to be felt. And she felt it, with every heartbeat, every glance, every night that became more than just a moment. It became a legacy. Of desire. Of connection. Of her complete love. If you like this, then don't forget to subscribe and comment for upcoming new.